So hello, welcome back to the channel, and before we get going with this episode, today the video is sponsored by our friends at Surfshark. Now Surfshark is a VPN that allows you to virtually place yourself in a different country around the world on your phone, on your laptop, computer, and that comes with a lot of great benefits. I'm going to share one of the biggest ones shortly, but the obvious stuff is being able to catch up on episodes of Netflix, for example, which aren't available in your territory. Have you ever found that? You ever clicked on a link and it said this content is not available in your area? So frustrating. Log on to Surfshark, they'll be able to reroute you and you'll be able to watch all of the great content which is currently unavailable to you in whatever country you may find yourself in. Then, it also encrypts all of your data. It's effectively keeping all of your private stuff private. Just keeps everything safe. But the really big one, and this is something that I think gets overlooked all the time, pricing discrimination. Airline companies and booking websites literally track the amount of time that you spend on their website looking at a specific product or ticket, and based on your profile, they will gradually start to increase the price as you show more time expressing interest in that product. That actually happens across the board, across booking websites. It's called price discrimination. Surfshark is a VPN that can help you get around that. So when you're booking tickets, be it planes, hotels, whatever it is, use this, you can save yourself some money. And ultimately, Surfshark are here supporting us, supporting this channel, helping us pay our way to create great content for you, and we're all about supporting our friends who support us. So, if you're interested in a VPN, be sure to use our friend Surfshark. Hit the link in the description below and use the promo code MrJWW at checkout, and you'll get 83% off and an extra 3 months free use of Surfshark. Head over, enjoy it. Now onto the cars.
So hello, welcome back to the channel, and what has probably been the most monumental 2 weeks since the channel started over 5 years ago. The reason for that, if you haven't been following, is we added these 4 cars in the space of 1 week. It actually wasn't entirely planned like that. The 992 GT3, for example, was ordered over 12 months ago, but the way things lined up, they all arrived at the same time. So we thought, you know what, while we're up here in the Scottish Highlands, why don't we spend 2 weeks immersing you in the best first drives we possibly can with these cars. If you haven't seen those yet, I implore you to check out the links below. There's one there for each of these cars. We put a lot of effort into it, and I think you really enjoy it. Also, massive thank you to you. Ultimately, without you guys supporting the channel, things like this wouldn't be possible. The feedback has been incredible, but quite rightly, there's been some questions about how this sort of stuff is possible, and just want to clear it that be under no illusion, what we are doing here is building a brand. We ultimately are looking to build a great company to make the best content that we can for you, and in order to do that we have to reinvest in cars. Now the cars are purchased through the Production Bunker, which is a company that myself and my partner co-own. So that's how this happens. All of the brand deals we do, all of our great partners who support the channel, we reinvest from the company into these cars so we can output great content, and this has been one hell of a week for great content. So this is also the first time that we've had all of these 4 cars together in the same space, and we thought before we head back down the road we should get them all together and give you an update on why they've joined the channel, what the plans are for them, and the general overview of the specs, because we gave a real in-depth on each of the collections. Once again, links below.
3, 2, 1.
All right, let's dig into the cars. I know that's what you're here for. First of all, and perhaps the most surprising actually, is the addition of a Velocity Edition McLaren 720S. And the significance of this car joining the channel is that it is the announcement vehicle for our new project car series. And why that's a big deal is we've sort of dabbled in it in the past. We listened to your feedback. You wanted us to go, quote, full send. And so that's exactly what we're going to do with this thing. Now we have, I'm not going to give it away too much just yet, but we've got substantial aesthetic upgrades which are in the pipeline. A very posh exhaust system which we shall share with you soon. We've already begun the project with upgrading the wheels to the Vossen 2021s, but the idea is to see if we can make this a 900S. So 720S stands for 720 PS, which is around about 710 horsepower. If we can get this up to 900S, that would be very interesting indeed. Just before we move on to the next car, I just want to point out what kind of makes this a Velocity Edition car. It's mostly themed around the paintwork and the bonnet. You see, maybe from that angle, you might not be able to get it, but when the sun refracts right on this bonnet, it has this beautiful paint grade which subtly blends into the rose-tinted clear coat and unveils a exposed carbon fiber weave. That was one of the signature features of the Velocity Edition 720S. Now, fun fact, if any early subscribers who are watching this, there was original plans to introduce a 720 to the channel, crikey, maybe 4 years ago now. I ended up cancelling that order and we kept a McLaren 675 LT on the channel for about 10,000 miles, and it never ended up actually happening. And it's funny how things work out, because when this car launched at the Geneva show, when we made that announcement on the channel, it was, you guessed it, a Velocity Edition car. So yeah, one of the other cars which has just joined the channel is the massively spec'd MSO full carbon fiber green exposed body Senna. Why I say it's interesting, this car's running around about 800 horsepower, so it'll be fascinating to see if we can make the 720S a more, dare I say, accelerative, more punchy car, certainly in a straight line, than our Senna. But the Senna comes into its own under high downforce. The car, as I mentioned, touches 800 brake horsepower, but together with that colossal wing, ridiculous front splitter, massive amounts of ground effect, it develops 800 kilograms of downforce. The whole car, the ethos of it is lightweight, more power, and it's developed to be a track car for the road. I know that terminology gets thrown around a lot, way too much these days, but this genuinely and truly is one of the very few road cars that when you get it on a track, comes into its own and feels like a genuine race car. All right, this has got to be one of my favorite parts of the Senna. Now, because this has got so much exposed green carbon in this direct sunlight, the sculpture that bounces off this is unbelievable. Now, if we can get the camera at the right angle to pick this up, I really think it'll sort of help set context as to just how magic every panel on this car is. What blows my mind is that even though this car has so many individual panels, no matter where you look, all of the weave lines up with every single panel. So this panel is separately constructed to this panel, but even on the door joint, it actually lines up, going from green carbon to black carbon, that lines up. It's just an amazing thing to actually stare at. And then, of course, probably the most unique feature of Senna is this lower door window, which allows you to see both in and outside of the car from quite a unique angle. When you're driving it, you can see the road by you, like flying by, white lines and things. And when you're on quite a tight road and your proximity from you to the hedgerow is close, it's a weird feeling seeing all of these hedgerows and flowers flying by. It's very, very cool. Now then, we don't get to put cars like this on the road without one of our partners, First Point. So First Point Insurance have obviously got us covered on these things. I probably don't need to tell you guys that it's no small deal to get ourselves covered on these, particularly in the environments we use them in. So the idea with this is we're going to be sending it on a track. That obviously comes with its inherent risks, and when we're filming on the road. So it takes a really specialist operation, like a guy called Andy at First Point. If you're watching, thank you very much. If you're looking for insurance, I could only recommend them super highly because they've always had us covered. So thanks very much, guys. All right. RS 4 litre. This came about because we introduced a series on the channel called the Modern Classic series. It was one of the most well-received series from you guys. Your feedback was amazing and you wanted to see more of it. Now, 2020 was 2020. I don't need to explain to you what happened there, but it was a bit of a hurdle in terms of making the Modern Classic series that we had planned. But this, really similar to the 720, marks the kickstart of the Modern Classic series starting again on the channel. And what better way by introducing one of our own, in my humble opinion, one of the best. This is sort of widely acknowledged as one of the greatest 911s ever made. And yeah, this is an acknowledgement that we're taking the Modern Classic series to heart quite seriously, and we're going to go full chat on that. But personally, this has always been a dream car. Now, it's become a modern classic since I first laid eyes on it. But driving this thing, it is one of the most analog driving experiences of a modern day car that you can certainly find. The gear shift, I mean, once again, links below to all of these first drives. The throw of the gear in this, it's a crescendo between each gear, and it's not like a sort of easy to drive car. You've got to really be on your game. It stimulates you, it engages you. Dare I say it, when you get out of it, you're actually a little bit tired if you've been for a proper drive. But that's what this thing is all about. It's nothing but distilled driving pleasure. And that, for me, is what this channel sort of started on, really. And this is probably one of the cars that embodies that the most. Just a pure, raw driving experience, manual, organic. They only made 600 of these cars. It was a celebration of the end of the Metzger generation engine before the 991 generation, which basically ended up transplanting a cup car engine into that car. But this was a really special engine because they bored it out from the original 3.8 block up to a 4 litre, which increased torque up by 21 pounds-feet, increased horsepower up to 500 horsepower. It's still one of the lightest 911s ever made. And just to be in it and experience its unique physics is a real treat. Now, before we make our way down to the next car, I think it's really important as well, just going back to the opening speech, to mention our partners, our finance partners who support the channel, Charles and Dean. As you can probably imagine, I've been on the phone with those guys quite a lot lately. Massive thank you to Charles and Dean. Now, what we've done is put together a bespoke landing page for you, our audience. We're always listening to your feedback, and before we put anything out there, before these words leave my mouth, we do a lot of time with these guys to put together the right partnership for you, the audience. So we believe they're the best in the game. We've put together a bespoke landing page, and if you use the link which is in the screen right now, it will land on a JWW page. Check out all of the info on there, and they could very much help you to get into your dream car. So thank you very much, Tom and Simon at Charles and Dean. Now let's get on to this car, the 992 GT3, and we were super fortunate, thank you to Porsche Perth, to get a PTS slot. That's a paint to sample slot, which is a paint which is outside of the standard options range of the Porsche color palette. Fun story on this, for my previous 3 Porsches, I tried to order signal yellow, got turned down 3 times, and this finally managed to get this over the line thanks to Ali and the Porsche Perth team. So if you're watching, guys, thank you so much for that. Interesting one on this, it's the first time that Porsche have ever applied a run-in period on a GT3. So it's only got about 400 miles on it right now. It needs 1,000 miles before we can rev it out to that full 9,000 RPM. And then, quite similar to Senna, we're going to be spending some time on track, but it's also slightly more road biased than a Senna, so definitely road trips to those tracks. As an overview, it's the first time that Porsche have fitted a double wishbone front end setup with revised suspension, revised rear wheel steer. We spec this one with the optional twin clutch gearbox. You could go for a manual, but because we introduced the RS 4 litre and we kept the 991.2 GT3 manual, we thought it would offer a more unique and different driving experience compared with the other cars that we're really fortunate to have in the garage. 500 horsepower. It's just a phenomenal thing, and I cannot wait. Once this is run in, the sound of this, naturally aspirated flat 6, when it approaches 9,000 RPM, those last 500 are blow your mind sensational. So there we have it, 4 incredible cars have joined the channel. We got a project car, we got a hypercar, we got a modern day classic, and the new GT3 as a road/track weapon. And as always, massive thank you to you for joining us on this journey. Huge thanks to our sponsors and partners of the channel for helping with this situation right here, and a very big thanks to everyone behind the scenes at the Production Bunker team. We couldn't do it without you. As always, thanks so much for watching. We shall see you next time. Ciao.